Do you just want to start with the bricks and screws?
Yeah. Okay. So, look, I want to preface this by saying
this is all extremely stupid.
It is. And look, the Star Wars theory is not as bad as Mike Zero or Doomcock. Mm-hmm. Now, I submit that if that's your bar,
it's underground.
Yeah,
that's how low it is.
Right. And like if you've passed that hurdle, you don't necessarily get a pat on the back, right? But he's way more mainstream than us. We have tens of followers. Yeah. He has hundreds of thousands of followers. Yeah. You know, maybe more. I used to follow him back in the day, and he used to have some really cool content. Which was mostly just him reading off of Wikipedia pages for stuff. But he had some like cool, like, oh, what would happen if Vader got a dildo stuck up his ass and Palpatine saw him? And like you'd have all these like really interesting, not exactly that.
The answer is Palpatine would shoot it with lightning and then jerk off.
How does that feel? Yeah. He lost me when he started monopolizing the whole Last Jedi hate for clicks thing, right? And then he really lost me when he came out with this incredibly average Star Wars, low budget Star Wars fan film about Vader. Because he kind of acted like he was the savior of Star Wars. This is how Star Wars movies should be, and it was not great. Like it's fine. It was like he spent a lot of his fucking money on it, but it's still like even a lot for us. It still makes a very low budget. And then like Disney demonetized it because he doesn't own Star Wars, right? And he started this habit of whining on YouTube about shit, about how unfair everything is. And so like I don't know, maybe he didn't understand that he didn't actually fucking own Star Wars. But of course Disney's not like, they're not gonna be like, oh no, you go ahead and make your own Star Wars content and we'll let you make money off of it. Like that's fucking stupid to expect that.
We don't need the copyright anyway.
Right. And so since then he likes to bitch and moan about stuff pretty much. A really good example, there's this hilarious, so he had this reaction video of the Luke Skywalker cameo in Mando season 2, and he had the same reaction I think that most of us had, which is he just burst into tears, right? Which I totally understood. And then Pablo Hidalgo like came to his defense, but because Pablo Hidalgo is kind of a spicy asshole sometimes. It was a very sarcastic thing, like, oh God, how dare men show their fucking feelings for things, and he took offense to that for some reason. I'm not really sure why, and so there were like there's this thing with him and Pablo Hidalgo, and so that gets us to like last week or like a week and a half ago.
I'm presuming
he's really good at like posting these just shit takes on YouTube now. We're like, oh, this is how Star Wars should be, and he's an idiot, and I'm sorry. Like in the very like, look, if you're Star Wars here, if you're watching this, I'd be really surprised if you are. We don't have a lot of followers, and like we're nothing. We're not mainstream or anything like that. Like we have a small amount of followers, but I'm not saying this to pick on you, and who knows, maybe you won't fucking care, but it's fucking stupid, and he's such a crybaby. And he had
So you spent like 5 minutes prefacing this. What did he actually say?
Okay, so Andor came out. A bunch of people like it, by the way. And he took offense that there are bricks and screws used in the set production. And basically his argument is Star Wars doesn't, like, those are Earth things that Star Wars shouldn't have in it. Now, he, of course, has conveniently forgotten that there are tons of buildings in Star Wars made of brick, probably most of them. And it's another thing he got really mad about was like the guns in Andor. I guess like the one guy has like a converted AK-47, and he's like, oh, it looks like a real fucking gun. And
is he aware that the E11 blaster rifle is a heavily converted World War II Sten gun?
I'm sure he is, and I'm sure his argument will be, well, it's heavily modified. And like, bitch, the other one was heavily modified too. Like, this is the problem. This is why I fucking hate Star Wars YouTube, like YouTubers, is because they will pick out the smallest thing to bitch about and then make a 10-minute video about it. And it's so pedantic and fucking tiresome.
Furthermore, is he aware that lightsaber hilts were made out of camera parts,
Yeah.
which are an Earth thing and should therefore not be in Star Wars?
Yeah, it's also like, so at the beginning of the Thrawn trilogy, like the first Thrawn trilogy, like in the first chapter, I think there's a conversation between Luke and 3PO where Luke tells 3PO that he's like, hey, Lando Calrissian introduced me to this really fucking cool drink called hot chocolate.
Yeah, but that's not canon anymore.
Yeah, well,
so it's fine.
Well, that's the thing is all these guys are like, that's the only thing that matters is the old canon and shit, and it's just, I don't know, it's so irritating. And I'm not trying to pick on anybody, and it's in this case you can't accuse me of picking. It's Star Wars series is so fucking big, and it's got so many followers and shit, and we're picking up, if any. We're punching up.
Yeah.
Rakesh says, don't forget how he incited harassment towards J.J. Abrams on Instagram because of something he didn't end up doing in The Force Awakens. Yeah, that's the other thing, too.
That's really shitty.
Yeah.
Just don't do that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. This is the part where I would never apologize for saying Star Wars Theory is a bully, and he's a gatekeeper. And the second he threw his lot in with fucking geeks and gamers, he lost every ounce of respect I have for him. It is not your, I don't care how you can have 10 fucking billion followers. You are not a gatekeeper for Star Wars. You do not decide what people are allowed to like in Star Wars and what people are not allowed to like in Star Wars. And in fact, I would go even further in saying that you aren't even a good judge of what is fucking good in Star Wars. So he'll never see it. It doesn't matter. But you want to come after me about that, that's fine. I'll throw something at your dick. Okay. Rakesh says, also the floppy disk at the end of Rogue One.